Tom, good to see you as always. A catch up on the FAB meeting that was held in the last few days. Firstly, let's talk about the support, the connection. 2,000 at Leicester, a crowd of over 7,000 at Sixfields. Huge sales of replica shirts. It's been a great start.
Yeah, and again, I think we saw in the FAB meeting on Thursday night lots of different supporters groups coming together and talking about the future, which is important. And I think we've acknowledged what happened in the second half of last season wasn't what we wanted for the club. Nobody wanted that to happen, but now we've brought Chris in. He's nothing but positive and about looking forward. And I think that support at Leicester was unreal. For a club who kind of had been struggling, we've gone there, made noise, and then to come back home on Saturday, and again, lots of first-time supporters as well, which was really great. I saw people coming down for the first game, and look, they're the future of the club, and our support will always be there. But if we can keep bringing new generations through, that can only be good for the football club.
Before we get into some of the topics you covered at the meeting on Thursday, let's just put to bed one question that I know has been asked a few times. I know you asked it of the club on behalf of the fans, the GRS bill.
Yeah, and again, attended the AGM when it was here at the club in one of the boxes behind us, and that was clarified by James and Kelvin in terms of that bill being paid for the stand which sits behind us now, which it had come up on a forum, so we answered the question straight away. I was able to answer that one because I knew the answer, but if not, I'd have just checked it with Kelvin and James and said, but yeah, that was clarified at the AGM and was something I was aware of anyway, having been part of those conversations.
And just to confirm, that bill has been paid. That was the answer you got.
It has absolutely been paid, yes.
Okay, let's move on to some of the topics you discussed at the FAB meeting. Firstly, and this followed on from a different meeting a few weeks before, the Accessibility Forum and the setting up of a Disabled Supporters Association.
Yeah, and credit there to Jason in the ticket office who set that meeting up. It was attended by lots and lots of supporters, and when we're talking about accessibility, it's thinking about lots of different needs that might be from hard of hearing to wheelchair access to looking at how we support ageing supporters as well, and actually how we go through and kind of support them, adaptations that we can make, some of which will be quite quick, others will take longer. But what it was great to hear is that we do a lot already, and I think actually we acknowledge when the East Stand wasn't finished that the disabled supporters facilities weren't good enough, but that platform that's gone in has gone in and kind of upped the game there, but looking at all aspects of it as well. And off the back of that, not only will we have the full Disabled Supporters Association, which will then report into the FAB as well and be able to have input directly into the club, but also we introduced the Accessibility Passport, which is a great thing for supporters just to kind of share what are their needs, how can we support them, and again, let's get that dialogue going backwards and forwards because we want everyone to be welcomed here at Sixfields.
Fan stones, I know the first block of fan stones was installed last year. It looks fantastic out the front here at the stadium. I know some porters have purchased stones towards a second block. That hasn't yet gone in, but I think we're looking to move towards a conclusion on that.
Yeah, I think when the first stones were laid, we saw a spike in sales that obviously people saw them and thought, I want to be in on the next area. And then what happened on the pitch last year obviously affects that. If we put an advert out saying we're advertising fans don't support the club, it's obviously met with kind of comments on social media which aren't always that constructive, but we are now working on that. We've got a sponsor that we're working with, so there's going to be a competition coming up for supporters to be able to win a stone there, and then that will leave us a very small number which we want to sell, and I'd encourage people, if they are considering buying, to do so, and then we'll get that installed as soon as we can, hopefully kind of October, November time.
A few other topics you touched on, some talk of electronic advertising boards here at Sixfields.
Yeah, I think it was a topic which had come up on one of the forums last year, and there was discussion seeing spaces being advertised. And again, when you just look at the figures at the moment, obviously there's a lot of talk around the club and decisions being made, and actually the investment in that is kind of looking 6 figures upwards to go with, that it was actually decided that now's not the right time to be making those decisions. And again, I think it's something that we can always look back to, come back to in the future and see that going forward. But for now, it was just one of those decisions that doesn't really make commercial sense either.
On a similar topic, the seats in the Jackson Grundy West Stand being replaced, that was something else that came up.
Yeah, and again, kind of the investment and the kind of costs involved with that when there's ongoing discussions around the club. It's probably not the right time, but I think, again, joining that together with the Accessibility Forum, we look that when they are replaced, we'll look at railings at the end of each row just to help supporters, especially in the upper stand as well, because, again, it might just help people be able to come to more games.
Another topic under a similar heading, really, free Wi-Fi for supporters.
Yeah, again, so I've had this conversation with James a few times, and I know a little while ago, the league looked into introducing it across kind of stadiums, and then looked into the infrastructure costs, and it's not just a case of putting in a few routers like you would at home and being able to do it. And actually one of the discussions was around, once you advertise stadium-wide Wi-Fi, if you've got 8,000 people here and 10 can't access it, actually you then leave yourself open to criticism. So it's again one of those things looking forward. We actually had kind of mixed feedback from the FAB in terms of some supporters saying their service was excellent and they wouldn't need Wi-Fi. Some suggested a kind of subscription service, but obviously for people that have got service, they're not going to want to do that. So with all these decisions, we always take them in, look at them, make sure they make sense for the club, the supporters, and that's what it's all about really with the FAB. It's actually kind of not dismissing ideas or just being, yeah, we're going to do that straight away. It's thinking about them carefully and getting in lots of views to see how we can kind of improve the experience for supporters here.
And something that supporters who attended the game on Saturday would have seen, the new match programme, fewer printed copies, still some available, but an online version as well. That was something that came out of discussions with the FAB over the summer.
Yeah, so I'd come in for a meeting with the club around the kind of range of conversations, and one of those was the kind of the costs of the programme and actually the numbers sold, which I was quite shocked. I assumed most supporters brought one, but it actually, was losing a considerable amount of money. And rather than just making a commercial decision, the club has asked us to get the opinions from the fans, and this is the kind of beauty of the FAB, that it wasn't about a small number of people making a decision. We could actually go out to the whole fan base. So we had messages on forums, we had messages from travel clubs, and the feedback came back that it is still an important part for lots of our supporters, the match day experience. So rather than kind of going, okay, we'll just do it as it was, we've explored it. There's a free digital copy that's available now to supporters as well, and that was important. We talked to supporters in Australia, we've got supporters in Switzerland, America. They can then be part of that match day experience as well, and I think that's a true kind of credit to the fan advisory board, that the club could ask a decision and we could go back and get a balance of opinions, rather than, for me, I'm a little bit old school, I love match day programmes and hope they never go, but when you look at the stats now, there won't be many clubs in League 2 offering one this season. So I guess the message to fans is, look, the club have listened and we've kept them, but if you want us to keep buying them, then keep supplying them, then please do keep buying them on the match days as well.
I know you meet formally every couple of months, but just important to remind fans that the FAB is open to work on their behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I've had people question me before that they think this is my full-time job, and actually, from my point of view, all the roles I do at the club are voluntary, but we're always in dialogue, whether that's at home or away match days. And the idea of the fan advisory board was, people might think, I don't necessarily want to go straight to Tom Cliffe as his role. I want to talk on the message boards. And we read all those comments, some of the things that are written on the message boards, the various rumours, people's different opinions. They vary, but we're always reading them. I get emails in about a variety of topics that might be affecting one supporter or might affect the whole supporter base. So people can always contact us via email, via the message boards, and again, what we're going to look at with the FAB moving forward is how we formalise that and what our supporters want. I've spoken to different clubs about how they're set up, because the key part about any supporters organisation or group is actually making sure you're representing the members and actually talking to them, listening to them, and then seeing what we can do again to make Northampton Town Football Club the best it can be.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Cheers, thank you.